Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory be unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Makar Kudash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace, salutations, and blessings be unto the hopeful elect, pushing his truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the globe, in the sincere hopes of being delivered in these last days. All right, this is the Baba Yakanan from the GMS England branch. And this is going to be a brief video concerning, the current things, that are transpiring out here in the UK. Now, as, we all should know by now, there are, riots, uprisings, violent protests, being carried out in various parts of the UK. And, the trigger for this current, state, for the current climate, that we're experiencing is what recently happened in Southport, concerning the stabbing, of these three young children, these three girls, all right? And without shadow, of a doubt, there's been a lot of things that's transpired that for sure, have been engineered in order to prompt, a particular reaction, from both sides, okay? When you connect the dots and you really survey what's been going on, you can clearly see that Esau is manipulating both sides of the spectrum, all right? And that's nothing new, because that's what the devil does. He's the master manipulator and he's the father of lies. So that's why, it's very important as pursuing, to Ephesians chapter 5 and 15, let's get it right quick. That we be circumspect, okay? Especially in these last days. Now, this is Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 15, and it reads, "See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil." All right, so we have to redeem the time, all right, because the days that we're living in right now are evil. All right, we're living in some real evil times right now, where anything can happen at any time. Okay, false flags, cyber attacks, okay, blackouts. All right. Now earlier on, I was watching a news piece that one of the brothers had posted, and they were talking about media blackouts. Okay, they were actually talking about media blackouts. So they want to control all sources of information that can get funneled, to your mobile phone, to your laptop, whatever source that you have, they want to control that information. Okay? So they've been using this engineered crisis in order to put forth, draconian measures and more ways, to take away your perceived liberty that you think you have. Okay? Now this is 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 11. And it says, "Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices." All right, and in the NLT, it's in verse 11. It translates as his evil schemes. Okay, because that's exactly what this is. These are evil schemes that have been, craftily and carefully, put together in order to push further, this New World Order system and this New World Order agenda. Okay, so like I said, they were mentioning, disinformation, they were mentioning media blackouts. Okay, they were mentioning all of these things, which is going to lead to, that social credit score system that's in effect in China. All right, but because this has been, because these conversations have been struck in retaliation, to violent, uprisings and protests. Okay, it's going to be a lot more draconian. It's going to be a lot more easier to enforce. Okay? So we're living, in a very, very heavy time. And it just shows you how quickly Yahweh Shem Yahushai is able to turn up at an instant. Okay? Now they're also talking about putting more, police upon the streets, more surveillance. Okay? And if you notice, when you've been watching these videos, the protests and the back and forths, between the Brits, I'll say, all right, and I'm gonna say this in code, the MUSlims, okay. When you watch that footage, the authorities that are there are not really doing anything. All right, they got their shields out, they're getting pushed back, they're getting overwhelmed. That's all by design because they're also talking about bringing the army out, okay. And once they start, bringing the army out, that's a state of martial law. So they know what they're doing. All right, they know exactly what they're doing. But if you notice, with the police that's out there, of course they all have their body cams, and all they're doing is getting intel, getting data, getting people's faces, and then the next morning they're gonna turn up at your house and they're gonna take you in. But the problem with that is they've already been complaining about how the prison system over here in the UK is overcrowded. And they were talking about letting people go because there's not enough space in the prisons. All right, so this is all making perfect sense. Okay, this is complete chaos that's being performed. So they can ultimately bring out, the CHIP, the MOTB, the Revelation 13 and 16. Because how are they going to arrest all these people, taking part in these, protests and violent uprisings if there's no space in the prison system? Okay, so that's where, your concentration camps then come into play too. All right, so a lot of people don't really see, what's going on and how these things are going to affect them. Okay, this is order KO, man. This is what they're doing. Things are going to get real draconian out here, man. Let's get Revelation chapter 13 and I think it's verse 11. Yep, and verse 11. And it reads, "And I beheld another beast coming up from out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon." Okay, so them two horns, represent, the two political parties. All right, now back then you had the plebeians and the patricians. All right, and now you have, your labor, your conservative. Okay, and in the Americas you have your Democrats and your Republicans. Okay, those are the two. That's the two-party system that goes back to ancient ancient Rome. All right, so everything is reincarnated. Now the main point I wanted to bring out, it says two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Okay. So speaking as a dragon, all right, that goes into the draconian laws, the draconian measures that are going to be implemented, okay, by, the powers that be in order to control the people, all right, these harsh and draconian laws, okay. So this is a very, very heavy thing, that's happening, man. Now there's also another scripture that goes into it. Let me get take the caps off the phone. Let me see if it pops up. All right, here it is. Carlo Yabashim Yahushai. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 94 and verse 20. And it reads, "Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law?" All right, so the throne of iniquity, all right, being who? The wicked elites of Esau, Edom, okay, and they're framing mischief by their laws, okay, by all of these laws and these policies that they're passing, all right, in the background, man. And again, they use situations like these violent riots in order to pass and further their New World Order agenda and to put these draconian laws in place. All right, it's happening right now before our eyes, man. It's happening over here in the UK. Now, one thing it makes me heavily think of is that if it's happening like this over here in the UK on such a heavy level, then just imagine, all right, when things really start getting worse in the land of America, which is Babylon the Great. All right, it's going to be terrible. All right, because that's the focal point of biblical prophecy. It is going to be really, really terrible when things start intensifying over there in Babylon, man. Because it's already, heavy out here, in the UK. Real heavy. Like I said, the atmosphere has changed. All right, people are on edge. All right, this has made a significant impact in society already. So I don't see this boiling down, simmering down anytime soon. I only see this escalating because it's gone so far already. The damage has already been done. It's like the C-19, the same kind of effect. All right. So Kahaloyimla Yahweh Shem Yahushai Bashem Kodash, they set a hotel on fire, man. Because they believed, which I think it did, they had immigrants in there. So they attempted to set that on fire. Okay, which that's not the first time that it's happened. So this is a very heavy thing, that's going on out here in the UK, man. All right. So I'm gonna cut it off there. Lord willing, this lesson has been edifying. And until the next time, we'll say Shalom.